Resident Evil. Hell yeah, man. I fucking love Resident Evil. I've played all of the mainline ones, including Veronica, except for 7 and 8. I played the demo for 7, but for whatever reason, I just never got them. So I was ready to play this, and man, is it a good one. There's the old school horror and gameplay alongside the more action oriented segments of the newer ones. Resident Evil is a franchise that doesn't need much of an introduction, so let's jump in. As usual, the game centers around two main playable characters, a new one, Grace Ashcroft, as well as the return of everyone's favorite Leon S. Kennedy. They both have varying game styles, with Grace taking on the more old school survival horror aspect of the game, and Leon the more action oriented aspects. By default, Grace also has a first person perspective, and Leon a third person, but you can change either one to whichever way you want in the options. Story wise, Grace is trying to figure out her past, as well as a general sense of what the hell is going on. And Leon is both trying to find the big baddie, as well as cure this disease. So anyone who survived the Raccoon City infection, they now have a disease starting to appear on their skin. It's a T virus infection, and it has already killed some people. Throughout the game, you bounce back and forth between the two, with Grace taking on more of the first half of the game and Leon the second. I enjoyed both of the characters, and I like what they did with Grace being a big scaredy cat the whole time, and Leon having been through this so many times, being the more action hero that he is. Like I said, Grace plays more like the original three games, and Leon more like 4, 5, and 6. Each character has separate inventories, even when you do store things, which you can't as Leon at first. They don't share that storage. As Grace, like in the older ones, you save at a typewriter, and in the one difficulty setting, you actually need ink ribbons to save like you used to. But the regular setting, you can just save as many times as you want. For the first half of the game, Leon doesn't get that option. There's just random auto saves that you have to rely on. They happen often enough, so it's not too big of a deal. When it gets towards the second half of the game, where you're at Raccoon City, Leon then gets access to a computer that he gets to save at. Being able to store items is pretty similar. So again, with Leon, you don't get it right away. You get it whenever you go to Raccoon City. And Grace, right off the bat, gets the old school big storage bin to store all of her unused items. Leon's storage works a little differently. So there's a BSA container he interacts with, and from there you can sell weapons from your inventory and then later on buy them back. You get credit points for killing enemies, and you can use those to buy new weapons that you haven't bought before, as well as some upgrades and a little bit of ammo here and there. As you progress through the game and you find a new storage box, each one tended to have 3 ammo for each weapon type, and those don't carry over. So if you do play through this, don't hold off thinking that like the shotgun shells will just keep adding up. If you don't buy them when they're there, then you just lose them. You don't have to worry about selling your weapons to create storage space too. When you go to buy them back, they cost the same amount that you sold them for. So you don't have to really worry about not having enough to buy them back, unless you spend all those points upgrading weapons and buying stuff. There's plenty of points though, as long as you know you're playing through the game and killing enemies. I never really ran into a spot where I didn't have enough to buy back my weapons or anything. Leon also has an axe, which is really cool. So he can use it to just straight up swing at enemies as well as hit them whenever they're trying to bite you. Grace also has knives that she can do this with, but like in some of the other games, they have like a health bar to them. The axe also has a health bar, but you can sharpen it, which I didn't realize until about halfway through the game. Um, but so it's technically an infinite axe. There are some segments too where Leon can pick up a chainsaw, both to get through doors that are barred and also just to straight up attack enemies, which is always fun. An active chainsaw on the ground will spin around too, so if you get too close to it, it might end up hurting you. The other thing is too, zombies can pick up the chainsaw, even if you killed the one who had it and then you used it to the point where you drained it out essentially. Another zombie can pick it up and reactivate it. There are some really cool sections as Leon too. Like there's one where Grace is running around outside trying to get into this church, and there's all these zombies coming at her, and Leon's up on a balcony with a sniper rifle, and you have to kill them as they're trying to get to her. There's also this section with a bunch of mortars that are firing down on you as you're killing enemies. You can get to the mortars and activate them yourself and then use them to kill all the enemies, which is really cool. And then there's this really awesome section in the Raccoon City part where Leon gets a motorcycle and you're driving around and shooting enemies and stuff. There are parts of it that are a little over the top, but overall it's really cool and really fun. Grace has this pretty cool mechanic too. So she gets this blood collector thing that she can use on downed enemies as well as buckets of blood, and she then can combine that blood with various items in order to create like more ammo or healing items. I know I talked a lot about Leon, but I don't want to downplay Grace's sections. Again, they're like the old school survival horror, as well as the newer games that are the remakes. I really do like that. I hope that they don't in the future forego adding in these kinds of sections. The difference of having those as well as the action-oriented sections like with Leon is a good mix. It's the best of both worlds, and I'm definitely not complaining. Resident Evil Requiem takes place in an area near Raccoon City, or rather the ruins of Raccoon City. The beginning area is untouched by the... That's my kitty. But yeah, it's untouched by the nuclear blast. And that's where the first half of the game takes place. And then the second half of the game, you actually go to the ruins of Raccoon City. The majority of the first half takes place inside this hospital area that's kind of reminiscent of the Raccoon City Police Department in Resident Evil 2. And then the second half of the game is Raccoon City, like I said. That part's awesome. It's cool to explore the ruins there and see familiar sights. Like, for instance, you actually go back to the Raccoon City Police Department and explore it for a little while. Some of the rooms are still intact, so there's little Easter eggs for various things. Especially if you played Resident Evil 2 and the remakes, there's lots of little things you can find. Like, for instance, there are the little Mr. Raccoon figures, and in Resident Evil 2, you would find them and shoot them, but the base got left behind. And in this game, the bases are still there in the same spot. This is a nice little touch. And then in the library, there was this spot where you needed a mechanical jack in order to get further. And in this game, not only is it there, but you actually need it to get further in this game too. And Leon, even when you get close to it, I believe he called it Old Faithful or something like that. And then also in the old games, there was this Easter egg about Wesker having like this photo of Rebecca Chambers. And in this one, there's another call out to it where he got a book from the library, and if you find said book, inside there is this photo of Rebecca. Old pervert, man. That said, there are Mr. Raccoon figures in this game too, scattered throughout the world, and you can find them and shoot them, and if you find them all, you get a reward at the end. There are also various other cool things, like there's this spot with this giant spider. So if you don't like spiders, you may not want to play this. There's also this section with these little kids that are just super fucking creepy. And then finally, early on, you can find this book. It's a children's book, and it's about a monster hiding in the dark. And it's about one of the monsters that chases you. It's really cool. Visually, the game looks great. The RE engine really shines here. There's plenty of beautiful settings, but also really creepy settings, and the lighting or lack thereof really enhances the setting. There are sections that just feel genuinely creepy. I gotta hand it off to them. They did a really good job with this. And performance wise, it's also really good. I have a fairly beefy PC, and I didn't have it at max settings, but I had it pretty darn close. And it looked great, and it still ran at 60 frames a second. I already touched on Leon and Grace, but there are plenty of other characters that make an appearance here. There's this little blind girl you find named Emily. Sherry Birkin also comes back in this game. She is Leon's handler. And she also has the same disease that he has. Oddly enough, since this is a Leon game, there's no Ada Wong here. I don't know if they maybe have something planned like in Resident Evil 4 where you get a DLC expansion that you get to play as her or something or what, but it does feel a little weird without her there. And she was a part of Raccoon City, so she should have the same disease as well. So I wonder what's going on there. The main bad guy, Victor Gideon, is also great too. He's your quintessential Resident Evil enemy, big and creepy and weird, and constantly pestering you throughout the game. The story here is great too, like playing as Grace and exploring all this stuff through her eyes for the first time, or playing as Leon and having this disease and seeing how it affects him, as well as being unsure on whether or not he will actually survive this. He's been in so many games that you don't know. Are they actually going to kill him off? And no, I won't actually tell you what happens. But if you're a fan of the series and familiar with the older games especially, you'll like what they did here. There's lots of callbacks throughout the entire franchise, and it's an overall good time. The sound here is great too, and just like the visuals, it does a really good job of setting the mood. There's also this cool setting you can turn on where it'll change all the sound effects to the classic Resident Evil sound effects. It also changes the music in some key areas and at the title screen, which I particularly liked because when you turn this on and you hit continue game or whatever, it'll do the Resident Evil voice, which normally without this setting turned on, it doesn't do that. And I was missing that. as I was getting ready to play the game for the first time. I kept saying that as I was, getting ready to play. And when it wasn't there, I was like, oh man. The only thing I didn't care for was when you're playing as Grace. So she's super scared of everything, which is totally understandable. But she's like that even prior to the whole incidents happening. But so she does this scared breathing thing constantly, and especially whenever you're standing there idle, it just keeps looping, and I don't know, it's just a little annoying. It's not really a big deal, and I totally understand why they did it, but it's just something I noticed. The UI here is great. It's just like any other Resident Evil game, tried and true. Moving around items in your inventory isn't a problem. There's even a quick auto sort feature you can use. It gets the job done, and most importantly, I never felt like I was fighting it. As with the other Resident Evil games, there's plenty of replay value here. There's these challenges you can do, which most of them can be done on your first playthrough. There's 50 of them, and I did 30 on my first playthrough. There's a couple of them that are more for subsequent playthroughs, but again, you can do most of them your first run. Doing these challenges unlocks completion points, which can be used on the main menu to unlock different things like weapons, items, some skins, and even infinite ammo for certain weapons. Outside of that, there's also a handful of skins you can get anyways. One of which for Grace is everyone's favorite Dommy Mommy. You can also get different skins for the weapons too, not just the characters. There are also a couple filters for the game as well. Leon and Grace have some noir outfits, and there is a filter to match. The game has a good amount of challenge without being too difficult, and there are different difficulty settings if you do want to up the challenge. There's also a even harder difficulty setting you unlock once you complete the game for the first time. There were plenty of sections where I died multiple times, but none of them ever felt like I didn't have the tools available to actually complete them. It was more of me just not playing right. Resident Evil Requiem is a great game. Kitty. It has fun combat, plenty of creepy horror, and a good story to boot. My score for Resident Evil Requiem is a 10 out of 10. Interestingly enough, as I was preparing this review, they announced that they're working on a DLC, I believe for later this year. So maybe that's how they find a way to squeeze Ada into the story. Or they could take on one of the other characters. Like I said, I'm really curious with the other survivors of Raccoon City who should have this version of the T-virus in their system. Like what happened to them and what were they going through during the events of the game. They could always go with after the game story. They do leave with not necessarily a cliffhanger, but they set up more story. I believe that will probably be the next game, though. Hopefully, the DLC explores one of the other characters from the series. At any rate, I'm excited to see what they end up doing. So that's my review for Resident Evil Requiem. Definitely check it out if you can. And if you've already played it, tell me what you thought of it. Like and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next one.